You're all welcome to today's news analysis. This is not just news, this one is serious. Before we go in, make sure you subscribe, turn on notifications, and stay with me till the end, because what is happening now could change everything in Nigeria politics. Let's go straight to it. Some powerful northern figures have now declared strong support for Peter Obi, but not just support. They are making a very bold demand inside the African Democratic Congress, ADC. They are saying clearly, the party ticket should be zoned to the south. This is not a small statement. This is not ordinary political talk. This is a strong position coming from people who understand how power moves in Nigeria. And when voices like this speak, it usually means something deeper is happening behind the scenes. Because in Nigerian politics, zoning is never just about fairness. It is about structure. It is about balance. And most importantly, it is about control. So when northern stakeholders begin to push for a southern candidate, people begin to ask serious questions. Why now? Why this party? And why Peter Obi? These questions are not coming from nowhere. They are coming from experience. Nigerians have seen political moves like this before. And many times, what looks simple on the surface turns out to be part of a bigger plan. Right now, ADC is not the biggest party in Nigeria. But it is quietly becoming a space where new alignments are forming. And when new alignments begin to form, unexpected decisions start to appear. This latest development is one of those decisions. Because normally, you would expect northern political figures to push for open competition. You would expect them to say, let everyone contest and let the best candidate emerge. That is the usual language. But this time, the language is different. This time, the message is direct, zone it to the south. That shift alone is enough to get attention. And it is already creating reactions across different political circles. Some people see it as a smart move. Others see it as a controlled arrangement. And some are simply watching, waiting to see how it unfolds. But one thing is clear. This is not happening by accident. There is a reason this conversation is coming up now. There is a reason it is being pushed with confidence. And there is a reason a name like Peter Obi is being mentioned in the same space. Because in today's Nigeria, political relevance is not just about position. It is about momentum. And Peter Obi still has that momentum. Even after previous elections, his name continues to carry weight, especially among young people and urban voters. His message still resonates in many parts of the country. And his political identity remains strong. So when northern figures begin to align with that kind of momentum, it sends a signal. A signal that something may be building. But at the same time, it also raises concern within the party. Because not everyone inside ADC will agree with zoning. There are members who believe the party should remain open. They believe every aspirant should have a fair chance. They believe that imposing zoning at this stage could create division instead of unity. And that is where tension begins. Because once you introduce zoning, you are also reducing options. You are telling some people to step back before the race even starts. And in politics, that is never an easy thing to accept. So while this move may look strategic on one side, it also carries risk on the other side. It could bring focus. But it could also create resistance. And the truth is, both outcomes are possible. Right now, discussions are ongoing. Positions are being formed. Interests are being protected. And behind closed doors, negotiations are likely taking place. Because decisions like this are never final until they are fully agreed upon. But even at this stage, one thing is certain. The conversation has already changed. ADC is no longer just another party in the background. It is now part of a bigger political discussion. And this particular move has placed it directly in the national spotlight. Now the situation inside the African Democratic Congress is becoming more complex, and the disagreement is no longer hidden. There is a clear divide on how the party should move forward. On one side, some northern stakeholders are pushing strongly for zoning the presidential ticket to the south. On the other side, there is resistance coming from another powerful voice, Atiku Abubakar. His position is direct and consistent. He believes the ticket should be thrown open. That means anyone, from any region, should be free to contest. No restrictions. No zoning. Just a full primary election where the strongest candidate emerges. At first, this may sound like fairness and democracy. But in Nigerian politics, every position carries deeper meaning. Because while an open primary sounds neutral, it also creates a different kind of advantage. Atiku Abubakar is from the north. And in a fully open contest, northern candidates often have numerical and structural advantages within party systems. Delegates, influence, and internal networks can all shape outcomes. This is why the zoning argument is not just about fairness. It is about balance. And this is where the tension around Peter Obi becomes more visible. Peter Obi is from the south. And based on the current political understanding in Nigeria, many believe it is still the turn of the South to produce the next president. That belief is not written in law, but it is a strong political tradition. It is something many stakeholders consider important for stability and national balance. So when calls for open primaries begin to grow, it naturally creates concern among those who believe zoning should be respected. Because if the process is thrown open, the entire structure changes. It means Peter Obi would have to enter a contest where regional balance is no longer protected. And that changes the political equation completely. This is why, despite the support he is receiving from some northern figures, there is still a visible challenge within the party. The support is not unified. The direction is not fully agreed. And that creates uncertainty. Right now, ADC is facing a critical internal question. Should the party follow political tradition and zone the ticket to the south? Or should it present itself as fully open and allow every aspirant to compete freely? Both options come with consequences. Zoning could bring clarity and alignment, especially for southern stakeholders and those already backing Peter Obi. It could reduce internal competition and allow the party to focus on building a strong national campaign early. But zoning could also create dissatisfaction among northern aspirants who feel excluded from the process. On the other hand, an open primary could appear more democratic and inclusive. It could attract more aspirants and create a sense of equal opportunity within the party. But it could also lead to internal divisions, intense competition, and a prolonged struggle for control. And more importantly, it could weaken the argument of regional balance, which remains a sensitive issue in Nigerian politics. This is the exact point where the disagreement between Atiku Abubakar's position and the zoning advocates becomes critical. Because both sides are not just arguing about process. They are protecting political interests. They are shaping the future direction of the party. And they are positioning themselves for what comes next. For Peter Obi, this situation places him in a delicate position. He has growing support, including from unexpected northern voices. But at the same time, the internal structure of the party is not yet fully aligned with his path. That means his chances are directly tied to how this zoning debate is resolved. If zoning is adopted, the path becomes clearer. If the ticket is thrown open, the contest becomes more complicated. And this is why this issue is gaining attention beyond ADC itself. Because what is happening here reflects a larger political reality in Nigeria. Power is not just contested during elections. It is negotiated long before the ballots are cast. Right now, those negotiations are active. Positions are being stated publicly. Alliances are being tested quietly. And the outcome is still uncertain. But one thing is clear. The decision ADC makes on zoning or open primaries will not just affect the party. It will shape the political landscape heading into the next election cycle. And that is why this moment matters. The coming weeks will reveal where the balance truly lies. If consensus is not reached early, internal cracks could widen and weaken the party's public image. But if a clear direction is agreed upon, ADC could quickly transform from a quiet platform into a central force in national politics. Everything now depends on unity and timing. Now the bigger question is no longer about internal disagreement. The focus is shifting to what this means for Nigeria as a whole. Because once a party like the African Democratic Congress begins to attract this level of attention, it stops being a minor player. It becomes part of the national equation. And that is exactly what is happening now. This zoning debate, combined with the involvement of figures like Peter Obi and Atiku Abubakar, is already pushing ADC into a more serious political position. But beyond the party, there is a wider implication. Nigeria is entering another critical political cycle, and early signals like this often determine how strong each camp becomes before the real contest even begins. Right now, Nigerians are watching closely. There is growing interest in alternative platforms. There is visible fatigue with the usual political structure. And there is a strong desire among many citizens to see a shift in how leadership emerges. This is why this moment is important. Because if ADC handles this situation well, it could position itself as a credible option for many voters who are still undecided. But if it fails to manage the internal disagreement, it could lose momentum before it even builds it. That is the risk. And that is the opportunity. At the center of all this is the question of unity. Can different interests within the party come together under one clear direction? Because without unity, no political movement can survive in Nigeria for long. If zoning is agreed and accepted by all major stakeholders, it could create a sense of order. It could reduce internal conflict. And it could allow the party to move forward with a focused message. That kind of clarity is powerful. It gives supporters confidence. It gives the campaign direction. And it gives the party a stronger voice in national conversations. But if the disagreement continues, the opposite happens. Confusion grows. Trust reduces. And the party risks being seen as divided. That perception alone can affect how voters respond. Because in Nigerian politics, perception is almost as important as reality. Now, looking at the individuals involved, the stakes become even higher. Peter Obi represents a certain kind of political movement. His support base is active, vocal, and spread across different parts of the country. His name carries expectations, especially among those who are looking for change. So any development that affects his political path will naturally attract attention. On the other side, Atiku Abubakar remains a strong and experienced political figure. His influence within northern political structures cannot be ignored. And his insistence on open primaries reflects a position that also has support. So this is not a one-sided situation. It is a contest of ideas, influence, and direction. And whichever side prevails will shape not just the party, but the wider political environment. Another important factor is timing. Decisions like this cannot be delayed for too long. Because the longer the uncertainty continues, the harder it becomes to build a strong and united front. Other political parties are also watching. They are observing how ADC handles this moment. They are assessing whether it will emerge stronger or weaker. And they will adjust their own strategies based on that outcome. This is how politics works at this level. Every move is observed. Every decision sends a message. And every delay creates space for others to act. For Nigerians, the real issue goes beyond party politics. It is about what kind of leadership process will be accepted going forward. Will zoning remain a strong part of political decision-making? Or will parties begin to shift towards fully open contests, regardless of regional balance? That question does not end with ADC. It affects the entire political system. Because once one party takes a clear position and succeeds with it, others may follow. So what is happening now is not isolated. It is part of a larger evolution. And as this situation develops, one thing remains certain. The final decision will carry weight. It will influence alliances. It will shape campaigns. And it will affect how voters see the choices before them. For now, all eyes remain on ADC. Waiting. Watching. And preparing for what comes next. The next few weeks will be critical. Every statement, every negotiation, and every public reaction will matter. If ADC manages to resolve the zoning issue quickly, it can present a united front, showing Nigerians that it is capable of disciplined decision-making. That unity could attract undecided voters and even sway those frustrated with the usual political options. But if the disagreement lingers, the party risks internal fractures that could spill into the public domain, weakening its credibility and giving opponents an advantage. For Peter Obi, the stakes are personal and political. His path depends on how well supporters and stakeholders align around the idea of southern zoning. The outcome here may not just determine ADC's direction, it could influence the broader political landscape, shaping alliances, strategies, and expectations as Nigeria moves closer to the next election cycle. Beyond party strategy, this moment also tests political maturity. Nigerians are paying closer attention than before. Social media conversations are intense. Regional balance remains sensitive. And trust in political processes is fragile. If ADC demonstrates fairness, clarity, and strong leadership in handling this debate, it could gain respect beyond its current base. But if power struggles dominate the discussion, public confidence may drop quickly. For Peter Obi and his supporters, this is a defining period. For Atiku Abubakar and his allies, it is also a strategic crossroads. The direction chosen now will echo into the campaign season. And once that season begins, there will be no easy way to reverse early mistakes.